Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Kooplings, and welcome back to the Nintendo Shack. My name's Donnie Reese. I'm joined tonight with Garret Bland and the returning Rebecca the Forest Minish. What's up? How are you doing? How was your trip?
Hi, I missed you guys.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Aw. I was over in Seattle doing things with the crew at Zelda Universe for ZU-thon that they have every year. We raised over $10,000 for direct relief.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Most ever.
That's
Most
great.
ever.
Obviously,
Most ever.
of course, because you were there. I mean, when you bring in a
all that
ringer,
money.
you expect results.
Well, thank you. I got to play the Minish Cap, and we raised enough money for the incentive for me to play A Link to the Past randomizer with crowd control, and everybody had a ton of fun messing with my game. And
Yeah, I've never done anything like that. I remember, like when the Pokemon Plays was trending. Like, how is it?
Mm-hmm.
How is it playing a video game like that where people can have some sort of input over what you're doing?
very unpredictable because
Is
you
it
can
random?
you can know, okay, well, I need to go over to this dungeon, and then they can just insta-kill you, or they can, give you like one heart, or they could help you. So it was a good mix of both. It was fun. It definitely took a lot longer than it would have if it was just a normal game. But it was all in good fun. It was all for charity, so I encouraged people to make my life miserable.
No,
So-
that's crazy. I couldn't imagine doing something like that. I feel like that would be really frustrating.
I had a lot of help. There was another girl who was Chelsea X Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
She's really good at Zelda randomizers and crowd control. She's done a lot of stuff like that before, so she was there helping me out.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So they paid for charity, and then per payment, they can put an input into the game.
Yes,
Is that how
all
it
the
works?
money donated went to the charity. But
Right.
yes, so they could pay for like these coins, and that would go to the charity, and
cool.
they could use the coins to mess with my game.
Oh, cool. Anything for charity.
Of course. Garrett, get a little robo on your end, buddy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, robo Garrett. Is it just me, Rebecca?
No, he's robo on my end too.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll try to cover it. Before we get into what we've been doing, I'd like to thank those that support us over at Patreon at patreon.com/PSVG. So thank you, Michael Masick, Edwin Callow, Stephen Keller, Nick Creature, Ben Moxham, Nick Fallhaber, Paul Calicote, Kyle Hyman, Devin Tyus, Josh Borboni, RJ Kern, Horse Girl 69, Zach Adams, Joe Wilson, and AJ Pentecost. Thank you so much for supporting us over there. I've been really happy since we announced kind of the show changes, which I do want to get Rebecca's take on, since you weren't here last week to address them. Since we've announced those show changes, we had several folks pop over at the Patreon, and I hope to reward them with lots of DLC coverage in September. I already have a few plans. I'm going to be talking some horror movies. We just announced that Sweet Hangs will continue on as a Patreon exclusive. So hopefully, $3 over there at the DLC tier. And hopefully it'll be worth your money spent. My goal is to give everybody at least 4 things a month. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. So we get $1 cinema will be 1. Sweet Hangs will be 2. Hopefully I'll do something DLC. We'll do a strong style, throw something else in there. So hopefully you're getting like at least a podcast per $1, if not more. So I'm kind of, the way I'm thinking about it, it's kind of like, I'd love at the end of the month to be like, hey, for $3, like you got all this stuff for like 30 cents each. So it's like
It's really
super
good
cheap.
value, honestly.
Yeah.
$1 a month. I've been a Patreon for $1 a month for this forever now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So Rebecca, you were out at Zelda-thon. We announced that we're going to be changing some shows. We're going to be changing some hosts. We're going to do some stuff. And you are the new host of the Nintendo Shack. I'm sure our folks want to hear what you have to think about that.
I can't believe you're putting it in my hands. That's dangerous.
Oh, come on. Get out of here with that.
No, it'll be fun. I mean,
more people in.
it's
course.
It's bittersweet for me. Like, it's definitely an exciting thing. I'm very excited to do it. But I started listening to the Nintendo Shack years ago as a fan with you, Donnie. You know, being the host, and a large part of it because of you. And now it's at that point where now you're not gonna be here every week. And it's going to be in my hands now. And Garrett's, and it's just not, it's going to be a different show without you.
Oh, thank you very much. And I think you're right. But as we end this episode, I'm wondering if it will be for the better. Because I definitely have some some strong opinions on some Nintendo stuff these days.
But I feel like that makes it a good show, having strong opinions and hearing the different sides of it. Like, it would be pretty boring if we always agreed.
Oh, of course. No. And, thank you very much. It's very flattering. And I've always loved the fact that you were such a devout listener when you started. And I was so excited when I got you to join. And I knew you were going to be great. And you have been great. And you've exceeded be incredible and like everything else. And that's why I can make the move, actually, because I know that you guys will continue to take care of my baby. Because Nintendo Shack was my everything. I always thought that everybody would quit PSVG and that there would always be Nintendo Shack. And I still actually haven't quite let go of that. That still might be true. Like, in the end, it might be just me and Nintendo Shack. But I think, at least for now, I'm very excited to listen to the new Nintendo Shack personally. Okay, well, let's get into some of what we're up to, some of what we're playing. If you don't mind, I'd like to start because we skipped it last week. I played Quake today. If anybody is not following QuakeCon, Quake was released. It's a remastered version for the 25th anniversary. It's free on Game Pass. It's out on Switch. It's $10. I totally bought it immediately. I believe it's Night Dive is doing it. I think I saw their logo. They're the same developer that did Turok and Turok 2 and Doom 64. So like
the old ports, yeah.
Yeah, and it plays exactly like that too. Like, it plays exactly like those other games. It plays very smooth. It's really fast. Obviously, it's a game. So, the game's 25 years old, so obviously it should. And it looks great. It's 1080p. There's no frame problems. It's super fast, super smooth. I think it's crazy that they added. Did you guys watch any QuakeCon or anything today?
No,
they added DLC to it. Like, there's an expansion to the original Quake that was done.
Missions.
It was done by Machine Games. Machine Games made a little expansion for the anniversary.
That's awesome.
It is really awesome. Cool. So I'm interested. I played it for about an hour, and it's great. Just like Turok. You guys have heard me talk about how much I enjoy playing Turok on Switch. And it's very much the same thing. It's like Doom 64. Super smooth. Motion controls are super smooth. I think it adds to the way that you play these games. That's why I bought it. I got a lot of heckling on Discord today. They were like, "It's on Game Pass. Why would you buy it?" It's because I like playing these types of games on my Switch. That's why.
Hands, man. It's awesome.
I've got shooters on Xbox. I've got shooters on Xbox. I do not have shooters. Yeah, I do not have shooters on Switch. So when a game like this comes across, I'm absolutely going to get it, and I'm very, very much enjoying it. The other game that I've been playing, I've actually played my Switch more, I think, this past week and weekend than I have in a few weeks, is I picked up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Oh, cool. For the Switch.
I got a gift card back on my, like you get the Amazon rewards. I have an Amazon credit card, so I get rewards. It's got $25. So there was a used copy in the Amazon warehouse for $31. It was just the cartridge. And I picked it up for like $6. And I was like, yeah, I want to try it. It is great. I've been playing in handheld. I haven't played it on the TV yet. I've been playing it completely in handheld. And in handheld, it is a really nice Switch port for a big third-party game. The resolution takes a hit, but it's not awful. It's not bad. It's better than playable. It seems 720 most of the time. The only times they really even notice the resolution is kind of like when you zoom in, like maybe like the create a character, the hair looks a little edgy. The hats look weird. It's not like super sharp. But when you're playing the game, you don't see any of that, right? Because it's kind of zoomed out from the character a little bit.
All in motion, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great in motion. It looks fine. And I've been playing it and having a blast. When I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater last year on Xbox, I basically played mostly the first game. So with this one, I just hopped in. I was like, I'll just start playing Tony Hawk's 2. So I've been playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the go, and I've been listening to the music in my headphones and stuff. I wish you could turn the music up more. Like I feel like I have it turned all the way up, and it's just not as loud enough as I'd want it to be. But outside of that, it plays really nice. It's smooth. There are no, like, I hope folks know what I'm talking about. There's no drastic hits to the game. There's no like crazy moments where the resolution looks real bad. I haven't had any like tanks to the frame rate that I've really noticed it. Mostly runs and plays smooth, and that's in handheld. So I can only expect that it plays even better on dock, but in handheld, it's played really, really nicely. So
that's really nice.
I think it was like $6.30 after my gift card. So
that's a good price.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have the cartridge. I was like, this is great. Like I'm totally down for this type of stuff.
Deals with Donnie.
I'm glad to hear that it's playing well on Switch, because I feel like that's a game that I might someday impulse purchase, just because I have such good memories of playing. I guess it was 3 on the N64. And I feel like that's just like a game to just jump into and just have fun for a couple hours with here and there.
They're such good games. I mean, Tony Hawk's Skater really 1 and 2, I think in my opinion, are still the best in the series. Like they're just so good. The level design was so good. They're so nostalgic. But I remember playing Tony Hawk, as the years went on and we kept getting more and more versions of Tony Hawk, I kept remembering being like, this just isn't as good as it used to be. So it was great when they brought it back, and I liked it then, and I liked it even more now. And I never bought the next gen upgrade pass. I kind of thought it was dumb that they even asked for that. But I'm happy to pick it up on Switch for a sweet deal, and one of the better like big third party ports that I've gotten on Switch. I think this one's, in my opinion, it's up there with the BioShocks and the Skyrims and stuff. It's good. It's real good.
That's good. It's good to see stable ports to the Switch that actually play and not go out of whack.
Absolutely. And the chat is about to make me tear up here. Everybody's being super nice.
I told you.
Becker and folks, I'll be back from time to time. I've said it, I'm not gone from Shack forever. But I think you guys are going to like the new host, and I think you're going to like the new trio too. So, but I'm happy that you guys have enjoyed me for 200 episodes. But as I said last week, guys, it's 200 episodes. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 plus years now. If you've been with us before the solo feed, you guys know what I think about Nintendo games. It might make better that I come on as a guest as opposed to the regular host, right? Like, all my opinions have been said. I think people could use a little bit of, because it's, for me, especially doing multiple podcasts, it's hard to, I feel like I'm saying a lot of the same things over and over again, right? Because I talk a lot week to week to week. It's just a lot to cover.
I mean, you do talk a lot, but you have very differing opinions. Sometimes I can't even predict it. So when the new host comes in, Rebecca, we're going to do a skit. After every game is revealed in Nintendo, what we're going to do is what does Donnie think about this game?
Oh, we should. We should have a rating scale.
Have a rating scale. It's is this a Donnie approved game or disapproved game?
I think that's a good idea.
That's the new fantasy game.
We'll make our best guess.
We'll make our best guess, and then we'll hear the Play Some Video Games podcast and see what you think.
I like it.
That's really funny, Garrett. Garrett, what have you been playing?
Okay, so the game that I've been playing for over a month now, Monster Hunter Stories 2. Mm-hmm. I'm still playing it.
Of course.
I'm still playing it. It's just I'm chipping away little by little. I've gotten to the point with this game. It's all right, I know this is not the end boss, but it's trying to trick me. It's the end boss. So it's getting really close. It's all right, this is the last dungeon, kind of, sort of. Okay, there's 3 more dungeons after this. Okay, there's a plot twist. Yeah, this makes sense. All right, let's keep on going. So, still playing that. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not saying it's fantastic, as I said before, but it's a good turn-based game. But other than Monster Hunter Stories 2, I've been playing Chris Tales on Xbox.
Very excited to hear about this.
Me too.
I played it for 3 hours last week. And I decided to put it down. And I'm I'm not going to waste my time with this game.
Ooh.
That's... So...
Did not see that coming. I did not see that. I am literally flabbergasted.
I've heard some questionable reviews, so that doesn't come as too much of a surprise to me. But I'm curious to hear what Garrett thinks.
Yeah, so it is it's a competent game. There's certain aspects that it really excels at. One is the art style. And the level design of this game is really good. It's really creative. I like the depth of this game, how you go in and out. I love the time warp combat of it. I think they're doing some cool things with the game to make it unique, which I add to them as an indie video game developer to go that route. The voice acting is pretty good too. They did a very good job. They made very good efforts to make that very fantastic. The things that doesn't like really come across with me is the pacing of the combat and the difficulty. So when you go through your first area of this game, I died 3 times in this area, and I just had to restart at the beginning of the level. And it's not like I wasn't getting good. It was just that I did the best I could, and I cannot get past these monsters. So when you go through an area of like combat, it's random encounters.
Right.
I think that's their first mistake, to be honest with you. I think random encounters is a little bit dated. If you're going to do random encounters, make sure that there is kind of a safety net behind it now. Like, even Pokemon's not doing random encounters anymore. Like, it's a kind of a dated mechanic. And it's so weird to get into the random encounter because it just goes to a loading screen. It's not like, here's a battle coming up. It's like, here's a loading screen. Okay, you're in battle. Like,
Oh, that sounds so slow.
It's slow, even on Xbox. It just breaks the pacing of it. But also, like, what if the monster's attacking you initially? And you're going to have to press a button in order to defend yourself. I don't know that. I don't know the difference between going into battle and then going into a cutscene. That's the problem with this game.
Right.
So they just need to...
How's the time mechanic, though? Like the battling mechanic, being able to see into the future and like the past and all that crap that they keep talking about.
So that's okay too. It's hard to navigate in the city itself because it's literally cutting like 2/3 of the screen. Like, no joke.
So I heard them talk about it, and it just sounded really unique by the way they described it. Like something I don't think I've ever... That's why I was interested, because I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that before. But, you know,
Right.
I haven't actually seen it in motion yet.
Yeah. The only mechanic about it is just like when you're moving back and forth, you can see all the characters going from young to old. That's cool. But the only mechanic I've seen in the first 3 hours, mind you, it might get more elaborate later, but basically I could go to the future to grab a chest. I can go to the past to grab an item.
I heard them
pretty much it.
in the video. I listened to a developer interview about the game, and they had mentioned that they'd kind of taken this idea. And I would relate it to kind of like Pokemon. They were like, you could like poison somebody and then skip into the future, and then they would just die. And I was like, that's kind of awesome.
Okay, so that's the combat side of it. I was just thinking of the free roam style.
Oh,
like going through a city. That's how you deal with the future and past. But yes, in combat, when there's monsters side by side, very similar to the demo, you can poison and then bring them forward to the future, and then they instantly die, which it is cool. It's just that
It's definitely different, right?
It's definitely different, but there's just a lot. There's just too many systems going on at that point. So you can either defend, you can either attack, you can think about putting them into the past, you can think about going them in the future. If you are doing that, you're using a turn, so they have an option to attack you. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna put them into the past. Well, you're gonna give them an open attack to attack you. And that's what makes this game kind of difficult, to be honest with you.
I was expecting that you would be really into like that added strategy. So, yeah, a little stunned here.
One boss battle I have done, basically, it's like 2 robot arms that come together, and they try to smash you like in the center. And so I was like, okay, let me put one of them into the past and see if I can like mess with them a little bit. It was very hard to figure out how to beat the boss, because the main thing was in the center eye, which you can't reach. Once you you damaged an arm, that's when the eye comes out. And so it was just a lot of things going on, and it was just one way strategy I had to do in that battle in order to beat it. And I'm like, okay, I eventually beat it. I don't know when, because it doesn't show me HP at all. It doesn't I don't know. It's just not calculating enough. Like, I was just like, oh, I'm making progress. It's more like, I'm attacking it. We'll see how it goes. Like, I just didn't know
It
at all.
sounds like it's so overly complicated that like you're just kind of shooting in the dark. It's not really strategy. You're just trying to see what sticks, and then
there's
not
feedback.
even sure.
You don't have any feedback of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a bummer.
So that was particularly with the boss battle, and then also with the enemies themselves. You can tell when they're weaker, when they're like, oh, they're hunched over, they're kind of down, when they're like at like their lowest point of HP. But that's pretty much it. And you don't know when monsters, when you put them into the future, are they going to be weaker or are they going to be really much stronger? I didn't know initially. I'm sure you'll learn as you go throughout and face these monsters, but it's just a lot of just things happening. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I just want to make sure I get through the area and make sure I get to that save point so I can heal up. It was a very difficult game to get through these first 2 or 3 hours. And it's just like, it kind of lost my moment. And I was like, I'm not interested into wasting my, like going into this game much more. I don't know how much I'll get out of it. So I think it's an okay game. Other than those faulty steps, if you're really into turn-based games, try out the demo, see how it goes. If you have Game Pass, try it out in Game Pass, but maybe hold out for a sale if you are really interested to try it on Switch or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Rebecca, when you're not doing Zelda Unathons, what you been up to?
Zelda Unathons. I really haven't done too much other gaming these past week or two or whatever it was. I did start Garden Story on the plane. I think that one was dropped during the Indie Direct. I haven't got too far in it yet. I think I have barely gotten through the tutorial even. It's not really totally what I thought, and I didn't see the Indie Direct trailer for it. I just downloaded this like right before my plane ride home. So I only played like an hour before I fell asleep on the plane, but it seems like I didn't realize that it's like a set type of game, like with an end type of thing. I kind of thought it was going to be more of like a Stardew Valley type thing. People told me I would like it because it is sort of Zelda related, like a mix between Zelda and Stardew Valley, I guess. So I'm still just trying to learn the mechanics. I'm still trying to get my feet wet with it. It didn't like fully totally grab me from the get-go, but I don't know if I've really given it much of a chance through the tutorial yet. It's just kind of teaching me through the game. It seems like it's a long tutorial. I posted about it, somebody told me get past the tutorial, it gets better. So I just feel like it's a lot of just following what to do so far. So I need to give it more than what I've done so far. So I'll probably talk about that more next time.
Okay.
Cool.
But really, besides that, I was just practicing a lot of Zelda for the charity marathon. So I'm really good at Minish Cap now.
Nice. I almost started Wind Waker. Almost. It was the next game on my list, and I decided to give Ghost of Tsushima another try, but I was right there. I was like, I could just try it now, because we are about, 9 days away from No More Heroes 3, I think. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited. Friend of the show, I guess, Twitter friend. Like, do you guys count Twitter friends as friends? Like, if you've known them for a long time?
Absolutely. Yes,
okay,
100%.
So, like, Joey Ferris over at Game Explain got to interview Suda, which I was just, like, so proud. I was proud of him when he made it to Game Explain. I remember it was, like, one of my first folks that I think I knew that got, like, elevated to, like, the bigger leagues, right? I was like, wow, look at that. It's so cool. And then, like, he gets to talk to Suda. I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous.
So jelly.
But it was a really, really cool interview that Suda mentioned a few things. One, he mentioned that No More Heroes 3 is like 15 to 20 hours. He said he's been considering like maybe doing a No More Heroes spin-off games, like with other characters like Shinobu or Bad Girl. Like, sounds amazing. That sounds great. But he said that, he shares the IP with Grasshopper, so it'd be up to them to let him do it. But I think the most headline-grabbing quote from the interview was that he said to expect the next No More Heroes game, if there will be one, 10 years from now.
Ooh.
So like kind of in Kojima fashion, just like putting it to bed.
Just go into hiding.
Yeah, he said he's going to focus on new IPs and stuff like that. So this is kind of like the last dance for a good while. I don't even know if I'll even be playing video games 10 years from now. Like, like it could be a bit if it's actually 10 years from now, which I believe him. We've been waiting on this one for about 10 years. Like, it's been a minute. So, yeah, it's about right.
Is it profitable for him to do that? Like, is he fine with sales with these games, or does he other things?
I think it has to be, or they wouldn't keep doing it. But at the same time, like, he's done a lot of other games, right?
Okay.
So like he's done Shadows of the Dam, he's done Lollipop Chainsaw. So I think more or less that's what he's trying to set expectations. Like, all right. I mean, he even said we're going to start working on new IPs now, because they've done Travis They've done Travis for 6
Forever.
years, like with Travis, No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again, and now No More Heroes 3. I mean, they've been doing this for like 6 or 7 years now. This is what they've been doing. They haven't really done anything else, I don't think. There's that rumor. I mean, I guess it's confirmed. He's working on a game with Swery, the creator from Deadly Premonition. They're supposed to do something together at some point. So there might be like a Suda 51 horror game in the works a couple years from now. I don't know. But it was an interesting interview, and I at least wanted to bring it up. But I had 10, 12 days between playing the games that I'm playing now and that game. So I was trying to think, like, what do I want to try to do? So anyway, started playing Ghosts. I also played Golf Club Wasteland,
Right.
which I hope folks don't rat me out on this one. I spoke about way too much on Empire. Like I basically just blew by the embargo. In my defense,
Oh my goodness.
the embargo that I was sent said like August 5th, but that was before the game was delayed. I didn't realize it until after. Like at the top of the document, it's like August 5th. I was like, oh, we're past that. Like I can just freely talk about the game. And then I started thinking about it while I was talking about the game. I was like, well, the game's not out until September. So I started combing, and at the bottom of the document, it's like, don't review embargo September 5th. I was like,
Oh no.
I mean, I think I'm okay because technically, like, I didn't review the game. But if you listen to Empire, it basically gave you my full review of the game. I just didn't score it.
Oh my gosh.
I will be short, and I will say that I'll save my impressions on SHAAACK for Golf Club Wasteland until next week. I'll talk about it next week because I want to give you a little closer to the game's release. It releases early September, but I'll just say this. I have loved playing this little indie golf game, and I'll tell you all the reasons why next week. So the title of tonight's show is Pokemon Presents August 2021. And Rebecca, if you don't mind, I know that you've written up a lengthy recap, not only in our notes, but for Twinfinite. So you've got to be way more knowledgeable for all
You
this.
got to be into this.
I've watched it twice, and
Oh, really?
so like I was like, let's let Rebecca handle this part of the show.
Yeah, just go through
Yeah,
it.
sure. I mean, okay. So the presents started off with some smaller announcements. We saw Pokemon Unite finally gets its mobile release date. It's coming on September 22nd. There will be crossplay with the Switch version of the game. If you pre-register now, it's coming to iOS and Android. If you pre-register, you'll receive special Pikachu bonus rewards. They're also adding a few more Pokemon to play in the game, including Mamoswine and Sylveon. Either of you into Pokemon Unite these days?
I haven't touched it. Sorry.
I played it
guys.
last week, like one map, and I was like, that's enough. Like that's kind
enough,
of
yeah.
like I've done it. Yeah, it's like I'm good.
You got your fill of free to play.
I think so. Yeah. It's kind of like the Pokemon Cafe type thing. He's like, I did it. It's cool. I don't need to keep doing it.
Speaking of which, they announced Pokemon Cafe Remix, which I didn't play Cafe Mix, so I'm not totally sure what this was, but
I did, so I can help you out here.
Yeah, some
So
kind
they
of revamp.
they changed like the maps. Like the maps, they've basically retooled them. So like they have barriers and stuff in places that they didn't have them before. So, and they're adding a bunch of new Pokemon to it as well. So they'll change like some of the recipes and stuff like that. They're basically, it's like just kind of, I mean, a remix is a really great way of putting it. It's not completely different. It's more of the same, but it's more of the same differently. I think they're trying to like, hey, if you ever like this, like try it again. You might like it again, but I'm not going to try it again.
I don't feel any need to try Remix after not trying regular mix.
It was fun for, again,
It
a
sounds
weekend.
like it's something to get you back
literally a
into
week.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun
If you
for
wanted
like
to.
the day that it came out and I played it. And I was like, this is kind of cool. You swirl your hand in a circle and you do that for about 20 times. You're like, I don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah.
See, the thing with mobile games, why play mobile games when you have a PlayStation Vita, right? Am I right, guys?
Or just a Switch. Like, why play Pokemon Cafe Mix when you just play Pokemon Quest?
Can you put a Switch in your pocket?
Yes.
Oh.
But I have like
Not
those
women's
90s,
pockets. Women don't
I have those
deep pockets. We
90s
can't-
Jinko jeans. You know?
Yeah, you got those cargo jeans.
I
going.
do.
Women do not have deep pockets. We cannot put a
That's,
switch in
you
our
know what?
pockets.
That's why they make,
Sometimes it looks like we have pockets, and they're fake pockets.
that's why they make hoodies.
That's so sad. I'm sorry.
I have
Purses?
carried my Switch. I have carried them in hoodies. I have carried them in purses.
There you go. That's why they make backpacks. There
Switch
are
lights.
solutions for this.
You know, I've actually played my Switch Lite recently, trying to get back into it. I can't. Like,
Really?
the nubs are they're so bad for me, man. Like
That's interesting.
I have to have the Split Pad Pro because I like the sticks to actually move around.
I'm agree with you there, but I really do like every time I hold Jack's little Switch Lite, I'm just like, this is so much better.
I say I like it, and then I play for like 30 minutes. I'm like, I can't move anywhere in this game anymore. Anyways, that's
we'll talk about Switch Lite here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing was some update to Pokemon Master X. It's the 2-year anniversary of that game, and
I
they're
can't
giving
believe
you
that.
a bunch. I know. I couldn't believe it was 2 years either. There's people who play it actually. So
there's people that play
don't hate
everything.
on it.
It looks
Yeah.
good.
Everything has a player. Like there's somebody that plays everything.
You're getting a bunch of free stuff in the game. It is Pokemon Go's 5th anniversry.
That's
For
cool.
some bizarre
cool.
reason, they're skipping Generation 7 and they're adding Generation 8 Galarian Pokemon to the game. They're adding
Irrelevant, I
Wooloo, Squovit, and Falinks. You can catch them in the wild for a period of time. Zacian and Zamazenta will be in raids for a period of time. Then we got to the Meteor stuff. We had an overview trailer for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the Gen 4 remakes. They gave us a pretty good overall trailer for the story and the characters. We saw, kind of everything that was in the original game. If you played the original, you saw a lot of familiar content there. They did show us a couple new things too. There's going to be this new thing called Pokemon Hideaways. So you can put statues in your secret base, and depending on what statues appear, it causes certain Pokemon to go into this secret hideaway. And some Pokemon will be exclusive to this. So if you want to get certain Pokemon, you need to kind of rearrange your statues in different ways. I'm sure there will be guides to tell you how.
Of course,
how to
I like
them
that
and
stuff in Pokemon. That makes
this.
Pokemon fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
It seems cool. It seems interesting. Kind of another type of that underground world that they have that's exclusive to that game. The what's it called? Underground? Is that what it's called?
It's the mines, and you use your little DS to chug away the diamonds. Oh my god!
I never played this game. So a lot of this stuff, a lot of the stuff in this trailer was the first time that I've seen it.
Okay.
I'm kind of blown away. I was like, what is this little rhythm game? Like they've got puzzles. Do they always have those puzzles?
Yeah. Okay. So some of that's new stuff. Then you probably didn't know what was new and what wasn't new.
No. It all
It was like half and half, kind of.
Because I don't think I've ever played a Pokemon game that had puzzles like that. The little mine puzzles that they were doing, the little puzzles.
The mine puzzles was
that was in the
legit
original.
thing.
Yeah, that was in the original.
And I was like, I've never played a Pokemon game that I think
And
has
you use
that.
a stylus to chug away with the diamonds. Oh my gosh!
I think that was probably one of the most unique. And I've only played Gen 4 half of it, so I am not super experienced with this generation. But that I would say is one of the most unique features in a Pokemon game.
Oh, I love this gen.
That's what I was thinking when I was watching. I tell you, I was fanning myself while you were reading the details, Rebecca, because this game looks amazing. I was so excited watching this trailer. I was like, I cannot wait to play this game. I'm very excited for Pokemon again. And
I'm so glad that they are adding back character and clothing customization. I was worried that they weren't going to do that because in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you were just Brendan and May. You didn't get to customize the character at all. So you can choose the skin color, the hair color, the clothing. All of that is back, thankfully. Partner Pokemon walking behind you is also back. I feel like they take that away every once in a while just to give it back to you, just to keep it a special feature. I feel like now it's a relief to hear that just because it's so cute and they can do it. I don't know. To me, it just adds such another personal layer to the game to have to have you what you look like and to have your favorite Pokemon following behind you.
I honestly would rather have the Pokemon than the customization of the character.
I like both. I will honestly just
course.
Run around the world not doing anything in particular just to look at me and my Pokemon.
Yep.
It's great.
In chibi style.
I love it.
Game...
love it. People I feel like we're the three that love it. There's still so many people out there.
We're the one podcast that was all in on this Pokemon. We're like, this game looks great.
Every other group that I'm in, not podcasts, but just group chats or Discords or whatever, there's always people who are like, this looks so stupid, it looks so kiddish, it looks so ridiculous.
Old.
So I love that you guys love
I've heard people call it retro. They're like, it looks retro.
Good. It looks good. I'm glad.
Exactly. That's what we said the first time. I was like, yes, this looks great.
Yes.
Very excited.
And it releases on November 19th. Donnie, I think you're going to like this game.
I hope so.
I think
because I gotta tell you,
It's old school Pokemon.
and that's what I'm liking. And then like all of the little stuff, like I didn't know about the hideaways, I didn't know about the base,
Yeah.
I didn't know about the puzzles, I did not know about this singing competition rhythm game. Like these are all of the little flares that Pokemon has that just kind of vary up the turn-based Pokemon stuff that was just like Sword and Shield just did that endlessly. Right. So I'm very much looking forward to this, and it's a Pokemon experience that I've never played. So for me, it's a brand new game.
It's really
so
good.
to me, it's not a remake. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do this thing I've already done before. I've never done this before, so I'm very excited. We already have both pre-ordered.
I am curious if they're going to keep HMs or not, because
I don't really care.
Since the last remake, they've gotten rid of HMs.
They got rid of HMs. I can see them not doing it and just be totally fine with that. Like,
I don't think I care either way, really. Like if they have it, I'll do it, and if they don't, then great.
Yeah. I hope the story's like as true to the Diamond and Pearl, and
I'm sure it will be.
If they put some platinum into that storyline, it's a really good story.
I do like, in terms of the looks, I like the chibi style, especially from afar. Like when they did that, like that pan over like the flowers against like the sunset or whatever. It looks really nice. But then they did like the zoom in to the Sword and Shield style. Like when they're in the gym battle, like the rock gym, it looks so cool. I was like, this looks so good. And it's like the same thing more or less that we got in Sword and Shield, but for whatever reason, I think maybe it's just the change up, it felt better. Like I was really digging that rock gym and just the presentation behind it. I was like, this looks again my kind of Pokemon, like old school kind of Pokemon. I was really digging it. Made me feel just like the first trailer did. It makes me feel really nostalgic. It feels like Pokemon.
Yep. And it's so funny that you feel nostalgic for it, even though you've never played it. I think that speaks to how old school Pokemon it feels. Yeah. My one thing about this that I don't think they're going to change it, but I would love for them to add a more variety of Pokemon types throughout the game, because, and I think this is a common complaint about this gen, but even I remember like just playing through the first half of it, there's a lack of variety in Pokemon, not just that, but lack of fire types. There's only two fire types that you can really get if you don't pick Chimchar as your starter until post game. Yeah. So you really don't have too many options. And I think that's true for some other types besides fire too, where there's just like not a lot of choice.
Okay.
They kind of shoehorn you. And so I think that a complaint about it before this, like in the original game, is that mostly everybody kind of ended up with the same team at the end, or like the same variation of teams, because
that's a bummer.
There's just like, you're going to pick these because they're the best ones. There's not really a whole lot others to choose
very
from.
effective.
Yeah.
I always pick Chimchar, so that was good. I didn't realize about the fire types.
I think there's Ponyta and like that's it. But hopefully they'll like make the Pokemon pool a little greater.
Dude, my son, I mean, we're going to get into it here in a minute, but just let you know, my son, he was big mad at me today. He called me a Gen 1er.
A Gen 1er?
Wait, that's not the first time he's called you that.
Old school, man.
This is the second time, man. It's just, it makes me feel so detached. He told me he's surpassed me. He's like,
in Pokemon?
Yeah, he's like, I've surpassed you. And I'm like, well, I mean, I admit to this. I openly admit to this. You have. I feel like I failed you, son. I've let you go too far.
Into the rabbit hole of Pokemon.
Announced alongside that was the Dialga and Palkia Switch Lite. So it's actually a nod to a special edition Nintendo DS Lite with the same exact design that was released in 2006. That will be released on November 5th. It's like it's almost black. It's like a dark gray with, I think, some metallic shine to it. I didn't notice the metallic shine at first, but it also has like the outline of those two legendary Pokemon on either side of it.
Guess what?
Uh-oh. He froze.
Oh, no.
You there, Donnie?
Oh, that was a hard freeze.
That is a bad one, yeah. Yours wasn't that bad.
Oh, no.
It's melon. I'm telling you, it's melon.
Okay, where is this at? Okay.
I don't know if he can still hear us or not.
I think he's gonna have to restart his
I think so too.
browser. Yeah. The Pokemon Talk broke Donnie. Oh no.
Well, it should. So the Switch Lite, it should be the same price as any other Switch Lite. It's just a special edition version of it.
I
that
think
what
I
you meant?
should have waited for this version because it looks really good, and I love Palkia and Dialga. Let me put them back in. There we go.
Thank you. You
Hi,
guys just
welcome back.
froze on my end. Like everything was just completely
Oh, change your
frozen.
mic source.
You froze.
Mm-hmm.
It was you. It was not us.
How about that?
There we
That's
go.
better.
There we go.
Good.
Guess what Jack wants?
What?
The Switch
This
Lite.
light.
Yeah, he loves this metallic gray. And I gotta admit, if they release a Switch Lite that didn't have the Pokemon in it, like in this metallic gray with the black buttons, like it's nice. It's a nice Switch Lite.
It's very nice.
I asked him, I was like, you
you
want it more than your atomic purple one? He's like, yeah. So we might have to sell the atomic light, or I don't know, pass it down or something. I don't know.
Oh man. Oh, I love that atomic light. Don't sell that without talking to me first.
He wants the Pokemon one. I don't. He listens to the show, so I don't want to commit to getting it to him. But like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, birthday, Christmas. Jack is a very fortunate kid because his birthday lines up perfectly with Pokemon releases. His birthday's November 8th. So for like 4 years in a row, his birthday gift every year is the new Pokemon game. It just lines up like clockwork.
Good.
You know what you could do as no, Jack, don't yell at me. You could hunt down the 2006 DS Lite with the same design and get that for him.
He's definitely not want that. He wants the Switch Lite.
That only
which-
plays DS games. Does it
You
play
could get them
GBA
both.
games?
It does.
It's-
Does
it's
the
a
DS Lite
DS
play
Lite?
GBA games? I don't know.
Yeah, they do. DS Lite version.
Okay.
DSi does not.
Okay, it's a
I've
DS
got
Lite.
I bought this laptop that I talked about on previous shows. Got about $100 in rewards credit at Best Buy because of this laptop purchase. So
$100?
there's a path. Yeah. There's a path forward.
I think I'm
It's
getting
like-
75.
I think it's 85.
Okay.
There's a path forward for. I've also bought a bunch of new like horror movies as I get ready for Halloween season. So there's more points in there. But yeah, there's a path forward to swap out this light fairly easily if it comes to that.
Good.
If I can trade in my Switch Lite special edition and get the Switch Lite for
It's a very nice light. It's much better, and like it's
Yeah.
the same damn design as the other one, but it's just
Yeah.
better.
But
It's
you got
better than that
Palkia
light
Dialga
gray and
you
that
got-
pink and blue.
Yeah.
Like it's just so much better looking. This is really nice looking.
It looks so good.
I think the little shimmery looks cool.
Like if we had the dark metallic gray light with like a silver Hylian shield, I'd be all over that damn thing like in a heartbeat. It's so good.
They'll do that with Wind Waker. They'll just
Yeah, they'll do
put that
something.
out, Switch Lite.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, what was the bulk of the Pokemon Presents was Pokemon Legends Arceus. We got an overview trailer for that, and we saw quite a bit more than we saw of it the first time. And they showed it to us, and then they give us a little breakdown of what we saw. It takes place in and I'm probably not going to say this right, the Hisui region.
I think you
It
nailed it.
takes place
I think you nailed
in
it, yeah.
ancient Sinnoh, a time when the lives of Pokemon and humans were still separate. We start our journey in Jubilife Village, which, by the way, you might not know, Donnie, there is a city in Generation 4 Sinnoh called Jubilife City. So this is when it was Jubilife Village, and then I guess it built up to a city over time. This is where the Survey Corps works to research Pokemon. You'll start out with either Cyndaquil, Rowlet, or Oshawott. We knew that. And you're going to use Jubilife Village as a base village to venture out and catch Pokemon. So you're going to start there, venture out on your journey, catch some Pokemon, and return there each and every time. It's kind of the big hub world type place. Generally, you're going to be sneaking up on Pokemon to catch them or engaging in battle before you catch them. Return to various smaller bases if you want to stock up on items. It seems there's also going to be a crafting system. You'll be able to collect things and craft new items. Interestingly, Pokemon can attack you as the player as well. You can even black out, which makes you return to your base. We saw in the trailer this lightning strike that made these. It's only certain Pokemon. There's like Ursaring, Luxray, Gyarados.
Can you fight them back? Or is it just like a
must
survive?
be able to. They didn't go into detail about that, but they had these glowing red eyes,
Yeah.
and they were
It's like-
big. They were bigger.
It
I
looked
think
like
these
an
are just
escape
bosses.
thing. It was like just
Yeah.
escape it with your life. Don't but I don't think you can actually fight back.
Really? Oh, okay.
I
I
don't
didn't
know. They
see
didn't
them do any like
specify.
offensive moves. Everything you see with the player when they're being attacked is like dodge and hide.
There's a lot of dodging involved with
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
Like you couldn't like
specifically.
throw rocks or anything. You can't throw a Pokemon. It
I
was
wonder
the
if
player being attacked.
it's going to be some kind of mechanic. Like if you go a little bit too far too early, those might spawn to like try to get you to come back. Like if you haven't progressed enough, like you can venture out, but just know that there's a risk of this happening. Kind of to like prevent you from, how in Breath of the Wild, like if you ventured out a little bit too far, it'd be a little bit harder at first.
Yep.
You can, but maybe it's just that kind of keeps you in check to kind of keep you at a pace.
mechanic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were bosses. Like I was like,
They might be.
I would have to
could
beat
be.
them. Like
That's a
I
good
don't know.
point. Maybe there's because they did show us different different regions throughout this Hisuian region. So perhaps there's one for each of them. We did see one that was kind of like a water type one. So yeah, maybe.
It's funny because in Monster Hunter Stories 2, it's the same exact thing. It's the red eyes. They turn all crazy, maniac, and evil. Everyone is following this trend. You got that with Horizon Zero Dawn as well. It's like, there's this dark type. It's like it all stems back to Pokemon Coliseum where they had shadow Pokemon. Let's just be real. That's
I
the
feel
original
like this
concept.
game is taking inspiration from lots of different games.
Yes, very much so.
Whether it does that as well as the other ones or not remains to be seen. We do see using Pokemon as transportation yet again. They've done this in previous Pokemon generations, so it looks like that's returning. We saw flying, swimming, and riding on a Pokemon to run faster on the ground, especially with these new Pokemon and new regional forms. So they showed us 4. They showed us Hisuian Growlithe, which, by the way, is the cutest thing ever.
Very
I
nice.
noticed it right away when they showed Growlithe. The fluff over his eyes and the fluff on his chest. I love him so much. And I can't wait to see what Hisuian Arcanine looks like.
Yeah.
He's a good doggo.
Oh, so good. Yeah, so good. We also see which I didn't notice this at first, Hisuian Braviary. Looks a little bit different. He's going to be psychic type, psychic flying with the purple feathers on the face. I think Growlithe is going to be fire and rock, I think it said.
Cool.
Yeah, he has a rock horn.
Mm-hmm. And then we see 2 new evolutions. We get Basculegion, who evolves from Basculin. He is water and ghost type.
Okay,
to
I'm
ride
down.
him around. And I don't know if I'll say this one right. Rydeer?
Yeah.
Rydeer? Is that how you say it? Rydeer?
Kind of like Ryder. Or Rydeer.
Rydeer. Okay.
Rydeer,
It
yeah.
evolves from Stantler, and you can ride him as well.
Cool.
I didn't catch what type he is, though. I should have looked that up.
Maybe fairy? Maybe?
It could be. He looks very cool, and I want him
He's
very,
originally
very
normal,
much.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, Stantler was normal. Let me do a quick Google search here. Did you guys have a favorite out of those 4 new Pokemon?
Oh, of
Growlithe.
course. Growlithe, yeah.
Yeah, Growlithe took the show for me.
He was
I don't
very,
even care
very
about
good.
these other folks.
I didn't know
Personally.
we can use them in battle, to be honest. I thought they were just for riding and flying and stuff like that.
I think you can,
Okay, cool.
because I mean, there's Growlithe. You don't like ride him at all.
Growlithe is not for anything. I mean, like the Pokemon you use for riding and for flying and for surfing. I thought these are the Pokemon for those.
And they should still be a part of your party, so I couldn't imagine why you couldn't use them.
But they're specific
Yeah.
Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. This looks kind of good on my end, to be honest with you. Like, of course, with the graphical hits and everything, it doesn't look as great as it can be. It looks like I don't know. It still looks like Wii U-ish to me, just because of there's just so many polygons involved and everything. But other than the graphical side of things, I really enjoyed how open it is for a Pokemon game and how easy it is to get into Pokemon battles. I like all the different types of request systems as well. I'm intrigued about this game, to be honest with you. I'm still cautiously optimistic. Like, I know this can be a not great game, but I like what I see a little bit more.
I like what I see too. I'm just still curious. Like, I feel like they still haven't answered what do you do in this game. Like, it
Yes,
seems
that's
like
exactly
it's
it.
catching Pokemon, which we can do in other Pokemon games, but
It's fetch
it seems
questy,
like,
you know.
yeah, like it's just going to be just that. Like, they're taking away gym battles, they're taking away trainer battles. Maybe those will exist. They haven't said so, but I mean, and I'm not like super mad about it because catching Pokemon is my favorite part of like the whole collecting aspect has always been my favorite part of Pokemon. But I feel like once you'll quickly do that and then it'll be done. And in the newer games, like I don't even bother to catch everything because I already have my living Pokedex.
Yeah.
Like I already have them. So I don't know how motivated I'll be.
If it's just catching all Pokemon, it's gonna not be great for me. But what I love about these open exploration games, I hope Pokemon gets from a lot of other games, is like the lore aspect. It's like you figure out what is beyond in these areas in this region, what is happening, like what's the origin of Pokemon, right? Because Arceus is the center of it all in this story. It's like you can make a really cool story with that.
I think that's kind of telling in of itself because the game's called Legends Arceus and they haven't told us anything about Arceus at all.
Zero.
So we know there's going to have to be some kind of story here about ancient Sinnoh and what his deal is. So I think the fact that they haven't said anything about him tells us, well, I mean, there must be something because he's in the title. There has to be something more there story-wise.
How about you, Donnie?
You guys ready?
The game looks like trash.
You ready, Shaq, folks? You want one more before I go?
Shelter.
If you guys are cautiously optimistic, then consider me cautiously pessimistic. I'm not digging it. I'm really not.
I didn't think you would.
No. It really stems from the gameplay. I will. So I watched it twice. When I first watched it, it was really choppy, and that was the live stream. I watched it again because I was like, before I go and I rail on it, I want to be sure. And I watched it really nice and preloaded it in full 1080p. The game looks fine. It doesn't look great. It's not the best looking Switch game, but it looks far improved from the first time that we saw it, which gives me a lot of hope that by the time it releases, it'll look even better than what we just saw the other day. But at the same time, there are still the game ultimately, I don't want to really throw too many stones at it. I don't want to ruin anybody's fun. It just looks really, really simple. There are simple textures in areas of the land. The gameplay looks very simple. Like the world building looks very simple. I would push back a little bit while you guys are talking about Arceus and this great story and everything. Like, when's the last time Pokemon delivered on a great story?
How often they're trying something new here. So
I hope so. I hope you guys are right because it's definitely going to need it.
They did dive a little bit more with a story in Sun and Moon, I think, or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. That would be the last
time that I would bring it up, and I had people tell me that Sun and Moon wasn't a great story. I love that story, but I talked about it with Sean a little bit post-show last night, and he hit me with something that was really true. He goes, because to be honest with you, I think my biggest complaint is that the world just looks lifeless. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, but isn't that kind of all Pokemon games? Like you just kind of catch Pokemon and it's kind of still. And I'm like,
not really.
I think he's actually right.
There's multiple villages and routes. Like I feel like the villages and cities bring life to Pokemon games.
But specifically, like when you see the people and they're still, they're just standing there. They're stationary, He's right. But at the same time, I think ultimately what's bothering me with this one so far that 2D games don't is that this is a 3D open world game and the expectations grow. Like you can't just do a 3D open world game where it's like, oh, it's turn-based and nobody moves and everybody's still. And it's like, well, then it feels dull and lifeless to me. In a way that like compared, like based on what we saw, I would compare it a lot to like a Dragon Quest game. But even Dragon Quest has a lot more going on than what we've seen in this game. And like the idea, so much of what they're showing, they're like sneak up in Pokemon. It's like, is this a stealth game? Like, what is the game? And dude, Jack was not having it. Jack was not. He was so mad at me. Like he was big mad. Like I wish I would have recorded. He was like, I can't believe you're saying this. He's like, Arceus is like the god of space stuff. It's like he's like, there's battling like every other Pokemon game. He's like, you're just being a hater. And I'm like, maybe I am. Maybe I am. I'll tell you this. He made such a compelling argument that I thought about it. I was like, maybe I am just being a hater. But to me, as somebody who loves open world games, and you're talking squarely, this is my jam. Like, as Garret loves RPGs, open world games are my thing. I'm almost interested in any game that's open world. And compared to other open world games, even RPGs that are turn-based, this looks like it's lacking a lot. And I feel like nobody's saying it because it's Pokemon. Like, I look at it and I'm like, we get little texts when we talk to people. Like, nobody moves, nobody walks around. You walk out and there's just Pokemon. There's nothing else going on out there. You know, Jack was like, it's Breath of the Wild. Like, you can fly and stuff. I'm like, but there's no battle. There's no dungeons, no shrines. There's no systems. It's not Breath of the Wild. There's nothing out there. There's nothing going on out there but this one mechanic. It's kind of like Snap. You know, like in Snap, like you just go take the photo. What else? What warrants it being open world? And ultimately, I feel like maybe my expectations are too high. Like when they first showed us this, my expectation was finally they're making the open world Pokemon game that we've always wanted. And it really, to be honest with you, the better way of looking at it might be they've taken a 2D Pokemon game and they've put it in three dimensions. And that's really what it is. It's a 2D Pokemon game in 3D. And it's nothing more, and it doesn't appear to be, you know, really nothing less. It's kind of like the same thing. Game Freak's doing what Game Freak does. And for whatever reason, it's not doing it for me, like, at all. Like, you know, in a major way. There's a part of it that wants to tell you guys that, like, if it wasn't for Jack, at this point, it wouldn't even be on my radar to pre-order. Like, I look at this and I'm just like, I don't think I'm going to like that game.
I can't help but wonder if they are kind of not drip feeding, but like holding back info and trying to build us up over time. So we learned significantly more this time than we did last time, but it still sounds like we have all of these questions like, well, what do you do? What's the story? And like, those are questions that they're going to have to answer at some point. So I feel like the next trailer will build on that and be like, okay, well now here's what we knew before. Here's a little bit more. And I kind of get the feeling that we're going to have more forms and evolutions than just these.
I think on the Pokemon side, you're 100% right. They'll have a lot more in there.
I think chat is kind of predicting this as well. We'll have at least 2, maybe even 3 trailers before the game comes out. That's giving us even more information. I think by the end, we'll be saying, okay, that's enough. You've told us too much. Let us figure it out on our own. Because we tend to do that with Pokemon. A really nice story and lore and campaign would go a long way, because that would be a reason as to why you keep doing this. Because at the face value of what it is you're actually doing as a player, it doesn't look like it's really a lot of fun. Like, do you really want to do that for 15, 20 hours? Right.
I don't.
Or it's going to be a lot more than that, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I think of Xenoblade Chronicles just a little bit, not like in terms of...
I was thinking of that. I was actually originally thinking that when I came to Dragon Quest, because the difference is that the combat is not action-based.
Right.
It's still turn-based combat, which for me, I'm sorry, Dragon Quest, Monster Hunter Stories fan, it's kind of boring. like turn-based combat for me doesn't do it for me as much as, and I think that's like kind of what I'm missing. It's like, all right, we're 3D, we're open world, like let's do combat, like let me control the Pokemon, like let's do action, because that's what I'm used to in this setting, like in this perspective. And it's not that, it's just traditional Pokemon. And it's like, well, everything else, I guess it's like window dressing, like maybe you're just really into that it's different. But it's, when I look at it, to me, I'm like, I'll rather play Brilliant Diamond Pearl. Like, I'd so much rather just play that instead.
Well, I think it's a good idea that they're really, it seems very intentional, because this is clearly Ancient Sinnoh. This is clearly, I think, kind of setting up, that they're hand-in-hand type games. So I don't know. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're doing the Sinnoh remakes right before this. They're kind of setting us up for it.
It'd be cool if, like, one of the other things I was thinking is, like, it is just their first one. And maybe I'm just being too hard on them, but, like, maybe in the future, maybe they add dungeons or puzzles or something, like, just more. Do something. Like, to me, you have to justify your open world. I think when we see open world games, I'm always looking at games like that. And Lord, we've seen so many open world games just this past generation that when you see this game in an open world setting, it feels old. It feels old. It feels like a game from like 360. It's like, we've done this. We've come so far. This
We've
seems
seen
like
a lot of this, yeah.
Yeah, this seems like a big step back. And I know it's new for Pokemon, but this is not new for video games. Like, we've done this. Like, Dragon Quest was like the best example that I could really pull that feels very similar. Turn-based, open world, but when you compare the two, Dragon Quest 11 looks... Or was it 10? Was it the one that came out on Switch?
Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah, 11. It looks... I mean, not just looks. I don't want to make people think that I'm thinking about graphics. Like, what you can do. Like, the world, the life of the world, the characters, the monsters, everything, like, so much grander than what we've seen from Arceus so far.
So far, yes.
Far.
I think I agree
We're
with you in the
close.
sense...
January.
Yeah, it looks lifeless. Like, it's not going to be detail-oriented.
People are just still. They're literally just standing completely still in the town. Do you see it?
Right.
He's walking. Everybody else looks like mannequins. I was like, this is creepy.
You know, and it really begs, why is it like this? Because Game Freak has more money than anybody else. Like, come on, why aren't they? And I know you can't throw money at a game to make it better. I know that you can't throw in, number of employees to make a game better. But why are the standards so much lower for these games when it's the biggest franchise on Earth?
Like, what they're doing, I'm speaking from just a game design level, right? Just like the NPCs, the characters, the world building, kind of like with what they're doing with the assets that are on screen. Like, it's like GTA 3 did this better, like in an open world game, like.
So
it's not doing it for me, guys.
Yeah. My expectations were not there. Like, even when I was first introduced to this game, I'm like, this is not going to be detailed as Oblivion or Skyrim or something along the lines of that. I knew that coming forward because I know Game Freak. Game Freak, have you seen their other side games? They're not good.
Yeah,
they're not good at all.
Little Town Hero.
I'm sorry, but like, this is what they're good at, is Pokemon, and so what they're gonna try to do is get that core of Pokemon and try this different thing.
On.
And
Switch
that's what
in
I think this game is.
They'll sell 15 million copies, and he's absolutely right. Jack's all in. Jack is so excited, and guess what? I'm gonna buy it for Jack. Like, I'm not opposed to trying it. I'll give it a try. It's just, I felt a little, again, sometimes I feel a little detached from like the common opinion, right? I've talked about that with other games, and this is one of those times where, people were hyped. I felt bad even in our Discord. I kind of waited like an hour after the presentation to even chime in on it, because I'm watching the Discord, and everybody's like, it looks so good. I'm so excited. Like, Kyle's in there. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Not again.
As you hear from me and Rebecca, I don't think we were saying it looks good. I just we hope there is this. We hope there is that.
I think I feel better about it, a lot better about it now than I did after the first trailer. That doesn't mean I feel fantastic about it, but I'm thinking maybe if I feel this much better now than I did before, maybe the next trailer I'll feel even better.
Of course, there is optimism that, I mean, at this point, it does look like it runs well. Whereas the last time, like, we had major concerns. That first showing was some pre-alpha. I was like, oh. And to be honest with you, I know that they're not. I'm not saying that they will. I'm not even predicting that it's even possible. But the last time, I said that it probably should be delayed based on his performance. Like, I would actually maybe even welcome a delay. It's like, fill that world. Like, put more stuff. Like, do stuff.
Why is it releasing in January? Like, this...
January doesn't feel odd.
Pokemon has such like a specific release schedule, and I read this one time, and I'm sure it probably applies to this game too. They can't really hold back Pokemon games the way that other companies can, because Pokemon is not just video games. In fact, that's such a small part of Pokemon. They have the anime, they have the merchandise, they have the movies. All of that needs to keep rolling. They have a schedule for that, and the video games cannot fall behind because those things will keep going. So these games, I think, are held to a different release schedule, and it shouldn't be that way, but that's just the way it is.
No, I agree with you. I actually told Sean basically the same thing you just said last night. I was talking about. I was like, the difference being, again, you're exactly right. They have so many other pillars of their product that you can't really compare Pokemon to any other video game franchise, because no other video game franchise is the franchise of Pokemon. They've got cards, they've got movies, they've got anime, they've got merch, and all of that stuff.
Can't delay all that stuff.
Kind of overshadows the games, even as big as the games are. Like, Pokemon Go is bigger than the console games are. Yeah. Like, all that stuff has got to go. So I agree with you. I was just as it was watching it, that was in my mind. I was like, guys, just delay it.
Yeah.
Like, just delay it.
Yep.
I hope
mean,
it's
if they
great.
delay
I really do. Like, I don't want it to
Yeah.
come off like I'm rooting against it. I want it to be what everybody wants it to be.
The thing is, if they delay it, they're going to improve stability and everything, but they're not going to completely change the game. The game is the game. And what we see from this trailer is like, it's kind of lifeless. Okay, it's Pokemon turn-based kind of in 3D world, and let's hope for more.
Are you into the
than
mechanics
that.
of like going out in this field and like sulking around and hiding in a bush, throwing balls?
I
at
think
things?
it'll be very cool for a while, and then after you are trying to catch your 200th Pokemon, it's like, okay, let's just do it already.
Let's get this over with.
I like the little Pokeball animations and the little firework at the end. I thought that was a little creative.
Because I was arguing with Jack. I was like, what is it? It's a stealth game? What the hell's going on here?
It seems like there's going to be multiple ways to do it. Like, you can choose to sneak up on it and just throw a ball at it, but maybe that'll be a little bit harder to catch than if you try to battle it first.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like it's kind of a mix between the main games and Let's Go, where you just chucked balls at it.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool in an open world setting if there was like more puzzles that you could use your Pokemon to help you solve. Because then then it kind of feels like you're playing like the anime. Like you're almost like
maybe-
playing an
That's true.
episode of Pokemon.
So maybe a way they could do that. So it is like this big open world, but maybe to get past, this one area, you need to like catch like a fire type Pokemon to burn down the bushes to create a path
Exactly.
or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if there's like, even like a minor, I would say like a shrine or dungeon. I don't want to evoke too much Zelda, but like just a scenario, you could even do it like a gym. There's a gym that requires not only a battling mechanic, but like platforming or traversal mechanics using your Pokemon, your team to balance you out to get you through. Like when I think open world Pokemon game, that's kind of where my mind always went.
A little bit more action based, a little bit more platform and puzzles.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Yeah. Hopefully they put something like that.
This is 2D Pokemon just in 3D.
It is.
You literally
That's
just
what we
turn-based,
saw.
you just run around and turn-based battling. It's like, and here's the other thing for me personally. I've got so much to play. Come like November, January, like I'm not sure I'll be done with the regular Pokemon games by then, let alone Dying Light and all the other games coming out. It's like, again, I'll get it for Jack, but I don't know when I'll touch it. It might not be till the spring.
Yeah. There will be connectivity with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl to Legends Arceus via Pokemon Home. They said later in 2022, so it'll be after the game's release. That's pretty standard. They usually don't open up that connectivity anywhere near release date. Usually have to wait a couple months. And it does come out January 28th, 2022.
Yeah, soon.
Very soon.
It's pretty soon. Yeah,
Well,
they're
it's right
holding
around the
firm for
corner.
those dates. Donnie was wrong. Because I was sure the first time the show, I was like, oh, they're delaying the hell out of this.
And they're not. They're sticking
not.
with it.
And, like, it looked a lot better. It did.
It does.
But I did see, like, there's that one area where he's facing off against a Pokemon, or it's not facing off, the Pokemon's kind of in the distance, and there's a beach on the left side, and, like, the sand and the water just looks like a flat color. It's like there's no texture or
Performance-wise,
anything
much
going on
better.
over here.
The
Yes.
graphics is just
I think I'm just
no,
not a
I'm
fan
good.
of the art style. Like
It's
I
Breath
get
of the
what they're trying
Wild-ish,
to do.
but it's not quite, right? It's like there's something's kind of off. It's not
Yeah.
quite the same, but it kind of has that quasi Wind Waker-y cel-shaded kind of look with like a realistic texture.
I think they're trying to go for kind of that ancient Japan type of like art style, like art, like I forget the name of it. Whatever that ancient Japanese
Kokami?
era, maybe. Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
trying to go for that kind of sense. I
feudal
don't
Japan
know.
kind of
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
with the village.
Maybe.
Cool.
That village
do
scene
have-
really took me out of it.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again and see the people standing still because I didn't catch it the first time.
You're just focusing on the character. Yeah, like just look in the
Yeah.
distance. You're like, what's happening here?
It's like, are they about to
They're
kill
just
him?
they're just like this in the distance. They're like,
No.
That kind of stuff might be different. I feel like that stuff they might add
hope
like
so.
expressions or
And you just
movements,
see
even if
one
they're not
character
walking
move.
around.
let them walk in a circle or something. Like this one lady who's in the middle of the town just sweeping the ground. Like, why? What are you doing? Like, what's
She'll be doing that for hours.
Yeah, what is
And
happening over here?
You go over there, press the conversation. It's just like an evil chant going on. It's just like,
Oh.
what is happening? Plot twist.
All right. We have lots of questions about this. I think the first one you've probably already answered. Kyle wants to know which Pokemon game brought the best features in yesterday's Pokemon Presents Direct, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, or Legends Arceus, and why?
Very hyped for Diamond and Pearl. Like, very hyped.
I am too. Yeah.
I'm glad
What
that
I
they're
would-
adding new content to it.
What I would say, I'm interested in the very combat style they're trying in Legends Arceus. We didn't mention much of that in our conversation, but it's a little bit more than just a turn-based game. It's actually a little bit more like a Final Fantasy game than anything. So we'll see
Maybe
how it
that's why
goes.
it's not doing it for me.
Oh, I just say Final Fantasy. It's like you just
I'm out.
stay away, clear. It's like Donnie repellent going on here. I
What if they
played.
add golf?
What if they
Oh,
add
now we're
a
talking
mini golf
Pokemon
game?
Golf. It's actually kind of amazing we don't have a Pokemon Golf yet.
That's
isn't it?
true. Control Cubone. Be a
I mean, we
little
got
guy.
cafe mix and everything else. Like, that makes sense.
That would be very cute.
I would play that. Yeah.
Of course.
I think I'm more excited for Gen 4 remakes.
Me too.
Wow. We're all in agreement?
Yeah.
I was sure that I'd be on the outside here. Wow.
No. We're for sure certain day one purchase on Brilliant.
It looks so
Diamond,
good.
Shining
I'm very
Pearl.
excited.
Yeah.
I'm like so excited for these that if they hit well and I play them, like I may not trade these in. Like I might keep these.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah.
It looks great.
All right. Hobik says another Pokemon Direct has come and gone with no mention of Pokemon Sleep. Do you think we will eventually see this project, or has this been put on the shelf at Nintendo where projects die alongside the Wii Vitality Sensor and the North American localization of Mother 3?
Obviously, Hobik is really worried about Pokemon Sleep. Like, why are you?
Are
even
we
thinking
really
about that?
worried about it? Yeah.
Like, who cares?
We
Pokemon
laughed at it
Sleep
when we
at this
saw
point.
it.
Yeah, and I get
Very
that.
memed.
Right, we had the quality of life program that Iwata was talking about for years that just died. Yeah, and like we have these kind of things that kind of fall into legend. I think Pokemon Sleep might show up one day. Feels like an Apple Watch program or something, but yeah, I don't really care.
I would have guessed that it is a dead project. I think I saw a few months ago Joe Merrick of Cerebi said something along the lines of he had some kind of reason to think that the project is still on. I forget what that was, but he seemed to think so, and he knows
It
more
makes
than
sense.
anybody else.
Kind of like that Pikmin app, right? Like
Yeah.
it makes sense to give the Pokemon brand like this little health and fitness thing that will make people download it. Like sleep monitoring is kind of a hot thing right now. Like a lot of people are trying to capitalize on that. People have all this stuff about when you're in REM cycles and stuff like that with their workout plans and stuff like that. So giving the Pokemon IP to something like that is kind of leg up, like Inverse was with Pokemon Go. Like Inverse was popular, and then Pokemon Go took that
kinda
to
just
the
like
next 1,000th level. XBS in the chat says, "What about Detective Pikachu 2?" Yeah. I'd be more concerned about that than Pokemon Sleep.
Do you remember the Pokemon toothbrush app that they released at the same time that Sleep
I think
was
I
announced?
remember that. Yeah.
I don't. But that makes sense.
You would
Was it a
brush your
timer?
teeth and catch, if you brush your teeth for long enough, you would catch the Pokemon.
Yeah,
That's definitely for the kids.
that's
man.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great to get kids interested. It's good.
Becker wants to know, do you guys think we'll see another Pokemon Direct before the game comes out, or just a little announcements until then?
Direct is an interesting way to put it. I think we could see another presents type presentation for Arceus.
Yeah.
I don't know if I go that far to say like I expect it, but if they did a little trailer, I think we'll get a trailer for Arceus before release, like a full
Oh yeah.
explanation trailer. Well, whether that's a presents Direct or it's just I think they could do a 3-minute trailer and call it a presents too. So it's hard to say, but I think we'll get a full explanation trailer on what Arceus is, because even as much as they've shown, I think there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered.
I agree.
They'll do like a full
Yeah.
website and all the stuff for it.
I mean, besides Sleep and Pokemon Detective, I don't know what else would fit. Like, why would they have a whole direct for Pokemon? Like, I think the next time we'll see that is next year, after this releases. But yes, I would be very shocked if we don't get its own presentation for Arceus.
How long do you think Arceus is going to be?
How long?
For like a playthrough?
If it's like 8 or 10 hours, like, are people going to be mad?
I think it'll be longer. I don't know. They're kind of tooting this like it's the next main series game.
I wonder how big that world is, because we really didn't see that much.
Yeah.
And they mentioned, there's this region. There's this region.
I didn't get the impression there's 40 hours to do here.
No. Definitely not 40. I would
Maybe not 40.
suspect like 12 to 15 hours if you mainline it, right? There's a lot of requests, a lot of crafting
maybe up to
involved
20,
in here.
25 if you take your time doing everything.
Catch everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sniper D. Luffy wants us to fight. He says, who loves Hisui Growlithe the most out of all the hosts right now?
You can
For me to make my case, I have images and artwork that are years old that Growlithe is always on my team. So, all you Johnny-come-latelys to Growlithe, like, where were you before he got his little foe? Like, I've always been there on Team Growlithe, so.
I was always a Vulpix girl, so I picked the version with Vulpix instead of Growlithe.
Yep.
I don't think I don't care for the fire types as much.
See? Donnie wins.
I don't care as I'm trying
Growlithe's my dude.
His little floof.
I know Jack.
Cute.
Jack has made fun of me
cute,
for years because all of his little friends, when he plays Pokemon, they are so into Charizard and stuff. And I'm like, man, Blaine done tried to show you guys. Like, you guys understand. Arcanine's where it's at. It's the real fire type.
Magmar is
now we're talking real fire types.
Magmortar.
Yeah.
There we go.
And some other little bit of breaking news: the WarioWare Get It Together demo is out now. They just
had no idea
a little bit ago.
Cool. Until the chat told us.
Breaking news. You can download the demo. I think it released in Japan like 30 minutes before the North American one. I've already downloaded it remotely, so I can play it right after this.
I'm excited to try it.
Yeah. Cool stuff. We have that's it for, I think, Nintendo news, unless there was anything else you guys remembered.
No, not really. There's not a whole lot going on right now.
Mm-mm. Okay, we have some other questions related to WarioWare. I think Kevin asked this a couple weeks ago. He said, what Nintendo micro game for 9-volt, 18-volt, or 13 amp would you like to see in WarioWare Get It Together? So these, if you're not familiar with WarioWare, these are the Nintendo-themed micro games. So there's always a category that is specifically where they take like existing Nintendo games and they make you do a little something in it.
I have no answers. I have no clue.
I read this question. I'm like,
3 or 4 WarioWare games, and I had no idea what this was talking about.
So I'm sure you would want to try to think of like maybe some Switch, maybe even some, probably Switch or even Wii U games or old 3DS games, where you could do like a quick little something. Like maybe they would have like a Breath of the Wild one where you have to like parasail and like land on the target or something, like try to aim and land there, like a quick 10, not even 10-second micro game based on another Nintendo game. Maybe that there would be one for like Splatoon where you have to cover the whole wall in ink really quickly or something like that.
That's cool. That'd be cool.
I just want like a Donkey Kong Bongo rhythm game. I
kept going back to Donkey Kong 2, actually. Yeah. It's so funny you said it, because I'm immediately thinking like Donkey Kong's Crash Course, and I was thinking like old school Donkey Kong game. Yeah. Like I can't think of. Rebecca threw me off. She's like, current Switch games, because every time you say 10 seconds something, I'm like,
have to be. It doesn't
Nintendo
have to be
arcade games. Like, that's exactly where my head goes. Like, arcade old Nintendo games.
They do tend to be like the older game, older Nintendo games that they have like little maker games for. But they had in I think it was Smooth Moves, a little Wind Waker one where you had to use the what was the leaf called? The leaf,
Deku Leaf.
Glided. Deku Leaf, and glide along the path or something like that. And you only had to do it for like 5, 6, 7 seconds.
Right. You're starting to jog my memory a little bit. Because I was thinking like all the like Amiibo Tap used to do like a very similar thing where you get like this little 10-second like little mini version of a game.
Maybe
Yeah.
they have a Luigi's Mansion 3 one where you got to suck up all the ghosts or something.
That's cool.
That'd be a good
Well,
one.
you know what? So I'm gonna steal your idea, but I'm gonna make it better. In Luigi's Mansion 3, you can add a saw blade to your vacuum and just like saw everything in sight. Like just do that. Just chop all this down
chop
before time runs
all
out.
the furniture and
Yeah.
everything. Just destroy everything.
It was so much
And
fun to
then-
do that in Luigi's Mansion.
I
I was
remember
like,
there
this
was
is
just
great.
there's just one room. You just
I'm down for
annihilate
Weed
it.
Whacker Luigi. Like let's do lawnmower simulator Luigi's Mansion version. Like just
Yeah.
with the saw blade. It's really good.
That'd be good.
Maybe there's like an Animal Crossing one where you have to like shake all the fruit off of the trees real fast or something.
That's not as much fun.
I don't know. I'm just like spitballing here.
You've got great ideas.
When I was thinking of this, the mini game that I saw in WarioWare game is pulling the armpit hair in a man. I don't know if that was one of the
There
micro
are
games.
lots of there's lots of them that are like that. There's definitely always going to be one where you have to like pick the nose. There's always ones like that. Maybe there's like I don't know.
I'd love to see
Maybe
some
there will
Rhythm
be a
Heaven
new
Fever
Pokemon
games in
Snap
there.
one.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All these games are so close. They're so similar, WarioWare and Rhythm Heaven. I'd like to see some of that stuff in there.
Just do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was historically an Animal Crossing one in one of the WarioWare games where you had to catch the fish at the right time.
Oh,
So
cool.
they've had stuff like that before. The Nintendo ones are always like the coolest of the micro games. Those are always my favorite.
I like a Snipper Clips thing.
Oh,
Ooh, there's
please.
a good chance. There's a really good chance that there will be one for that.
That'd be a cool throwback too, right?
Yeah. I
That'd
remember
be cool.
playing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be surprised if there's not. Oh, I feel like we've answered this, but I'm going to ask it again. Soundscape wants to know, do you guys believe we will get any new announcements for the Zelda anniversary? I have to listen to Donnie talk about Wind Waker again before he leaves SHAAACK.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Soundscape. There's no chance.
If there is a chance, if there's
Yeah.
a day where Wind Waker is released on Switch, Donnie will be back for that show.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
take the show over.
So you don't have to worry about that, Soundscape.
But no,
there's
it's-
not going to be any new announcements for Zelda's
I canceled my order for the little Zelda handheld.
Oh, yeah. The Game & Watch thing.
Yeah. I think that'll be
That's
the next
okay.
time we hear about Zeldas. We'll start talking about that. Yeah.
Nothing else.
It's
I'm
unfortunate.
still not sold that Breath of the Wild is next year. So like kind of there's a part of me that's like anticipating like a spring direct popping up where they announce another another remaster release. I think at that point people are gonna start to get mad.
Yeah.
If they did
All
that,
right,
that would mean no Breath of the Wild for next year.
I don't think Breath of the Wild's happening next year.
Then there would have to be something next year.
Yeah. And that's kind of
The Zelda
where I'm-
Dungeon Maker. That's what.
basically-
Oh,
Yeah.
Mary, yes.
That's
do
Who
it.
basically
cares about Breath of the Wild too?
that's the space that I've been in since
Who needs
E3.
it?
The space that I've been in since E3 is I don't think Breath of the Wild's next year, and I think they'll put something else next year because
okay.
of that.
Put it in my veins.
Put the Dungeon Maker in my veins.
I need it. Oh, okay. I like this question. I think this is the last big one here. John 32 asks us if you had to rank what's most important. Gameplay
I got you,
/ design, graphics / performance,
Okay. Did you read the whole question, Rebecca?
So he provided some context. He says, I tend to agree with Rebecca that gameplay trumps performance. Growing up with NES games, I know there was a ton of games brutally written, brutal performance, but the games were still super memorable and left a mark. Would love to hear others' thoughts.
So, John 32. I think we all agree with Rebecca. I think most of us would always agree that gameplay trumps performance. The problem is when performance hampers gameplay, right? So they go hand in hand. It's hard for me to pick just one because I think the context of the question is like you can't necessarily just attach all of these things away from each other. I think when it comes down for me, what's most important for me when trying out a new game is like the game's pitch. There's got to be a hook, something that grabs my attention. It can be a lot of things, though. It could be a great story. I play Life is Strange and, games like that all the time because it looks like a great story. That's the hook. But I play other games because it looks awesome. And the graphics that are being shown, that's the hook. I play, like if there's a shooter that's on display and it just looks crazy fast and fluid and it looks great. Lots of explosions, lots of action. That's the hook. So for me, it depends game to game, genre to genre. I think probably the better way of putting it. Genre to genre, there are different things that hook me. Like with a Metroidvania, I think I really care about the art style a lot. I'm not going to play a Metroidvania that doesn't look appealing to me. I think that's why Ori and Hollow Knight grab my attention as much as they have. If I'm playing like a sports game, performance and gameplay matter a lot to me. What are the mechanics? What are we doing? Like, how much control do I have over the character? Like a golf game. You guys heard me talk about Mario Golf Super Rush. My entire opinion on the game is almost wholly invested into how that game plays. The actual mechanics of hitting the golf ball. Like it, more so than the performance or the look or anything like that. It really comes down to that, because for that style of game, that's what matters to me. When it comes to a big production game, like if anything that has like really big production set pieces, lots of action, lots of things on screen, performance matters a lot because it hurts everything else that's around it. Like I'm a little scared about No More Heroes 3 because the performance looks awful. It looks really bad. And that's going to detract from the effects that they have on screen, because when that game is fluid, it looks great. It has this awesome style, and I'm not sure how much you guys may or may not have seen, but the beam katana has like these like light effects, so it kind of looks like there's 3 lasers at times, like depending on the camera angle, and it's got like spark effects that are popping off of it and stuff. And when he swings it, you get like this Star Wars lightsaber like beam trail all the way across the screen. That looks awesome. You want to see that in full fidelity and resolution. You don't want to see it chopping and cut and skipping and things like that. So for me, this question's kind of tough because I don't think it depends. Like there are other things that go into this question beyond just this thing. But I think I think most gamers agree that if a game is really, really fun to play, then you will put up with concessions on graphics because of that reason, because it's really fun to play. The problem is, does the graphics or the performance start to rob the gameplay? Does it start to make the game not feel as much fun to play as you expect it to be? That's really the balance there, I think, for me. I think a really good example for that was Age of Calamity. The performance started to impact how much fun I was having playing the game, because I kept noticing how much slowdown and how choppy it was at times. It's like, come on, like this is an action-based game. It's meant to be fluid and fun. And when I play other games like that, I would use like Hyrule Warriors, especially on Switch, how fluid it is. But even other games like Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, like those are what those performance is what those games are built on. Like they'll cut the graphics just to make sure that they deliver you stable performance, because that's what that game is about. It's about action and big, powerful super moves and feeling powerful, right? That's what you want in an action game. So the performance matters a lot in an action game.
I agree with you more or less. This is why we're gonna miss Donnie, guys. You get this whole monologue answer. It's really good. I know. I definitely agree with pretty much everything you said. I think one thing on top I would add, just personally, just like an option for me. I have just like a bare minimum to all 3, depending on game to game. So like for gameplay and design, that's almost nearly to the top. If it's narrative driven based though, the gameplay just needs to be good enough for me to direct the story into. That's all it needs to do. Like you don't need to do anything fancy. It can be point and click adventure. Like I don't care. Your story just needs to be good. With graphics and performance, I agree with you. It's the games that really depend on those. And like I want them to be as good and beautiful as possible. But at the bare minimum, if they're action-based games, they need to be a little bit better than what we see at Age of Calamity. It needs to be like pretty stable. Like Monster Hunter Rise is probably a good role model of a good Switch game, I think, because it's not like out of the water 60 frames per second like beautifulness, but it's a very stable, very optimized game. Yeah, and it's all action-based. As I argue, it's one of the most one of the greatest performing action-based games on Switch and ever, really. So yeah, it's just depending on game to game and what's your minimum standard for that.
I think I have a different standard of what's considered unplayable as far as like performance goes than you guys do. Even though I did notice, slowdowns and other issues with Age of Calamity, it did not bother me in the slightest at all. Like that's not even close to what my biggest problems with that game were. So unless the game is actually like broken to the point where it's consistently slowing me down, or I'm losing progress, or like I'm really long load times and I'm just
Deadly
like
Premonition 2.
maybe that would be a game where it would be too much for me.
Well,
I haven't played it. That might be more of an example than something like Age of Calamity, where like I'm not noticing frame rate drops. I'm not noticing, little bits of lag here and there don't bother me too much. Graphics, I like a wide variety of different types of graphics. So, like none of that stuff is really all that important to me unless it's so bad, which I feel like is a whole other conversation. So for me, really, it's the other two that stand out the most for what I place importance into. Definitely the gameplay and design would have to be number one. There's certain genres that I flock to. There's, just the actual having fun of it part. There's a lot of those types of games where it doesn't need to have good writing or character design, and I just have a good time with it. But my favorite
Pac-Man 99.
Yeah, that's a good example. That don't have a story or characters
Make sure
or
you
anything,
get
but
Tetris
it is
Connect, by the way, Rebecca.
fun. I know.
Yeah.
Tetris Connect or Tetris Effect?
Yeah,
It's
Effect,
Tetris
whatever it's called.
Connected.
Yeah. I
Really
will.
good.
But that being said, my favorite games of all time have brilliant writing, brilliant characters designs. The Life is Stranges, the Undertale, Chrono Trigger, like all of those that have really deep writing and characters are my favorites.
I think my favorite games are games that have really deep characters as well. Stories. If your stories, like if Arceus' story is just amazing, I'll play it.
Yeah.
Like I'll put up
Something
with anything if the story's great.
Something that really just leaves me like thinking about this world long after I'm done playing the game.
Yeah, impactful.
Yep.
I almost took, I don't want to say offense, but like just some hesitation to the question, because I do feel like the Twitter, like the social media, Twitter, YouTube generation, like it's almost like set up to like kind of put people in different camps. I felt that way at times on SHAAAACK. It's like, oh, he cares too much about performance. I'm not as into graphics and performance. It's like, but you could do both. Like we don't necessarily have to be opposed to each other, right? Like it's not graphics or performance. Like they're intertwined, and so is story, and so is style, and a lot of it goes. Sometimes the music. Like I play a game just because the music's great. Like there are a lot of reasons why I'll play a game. And hopefully, usually, when I come tell you about it on the podcast, hopefully I'm telling you, here's the reason why I'm playing this game. And like it changes from game to game. Like I'm very excited to tell you guys about Golf Club Wasteland. It has nothing to do with gameplay. None.
That's funny.
It's completely
right.
about story. And
Nice.
it changes from game to game.
So yeah, and I don't yell at me. I just haven't finished it yet. But Golf Story is a game where like the gameplay doesn't click with me, but I love the writing and story and characters in that
Top-notch
game.
writing, just
so good, so
perfect.
good. Yeah, I am excited because I just feel like I'm not like a golf person, so that's why I'm excited for Sports Story, because I know the writing will be as good.
It's really, really good. The writing in that game is
It's
just
so funny.
I've sent people clips, and they're like, "I got to play this game."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not clips of the puzzles or whatever. It's clips of the dialogue, which is not even voiced over. You got to read it, and it's still hilarious because of like the animation that they give to the dialogue as it's happening on screen. That's style. Golf Story has style. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, good question though, John. Thanks for asking.
It is a good question. Yeah.
All right, that's another one in the books. As like Donnie continues his march to the end. My senioritis trip.
There we go.
We'll be back. Let's see here. We got next week.
I'm not going to be here next week.
The day before No More Heroes releases.
Oh,
and then we have
you
the
guys
week
will,
after.
You guys will have another boys' night next week.
It'll be fun. Fun to do. And then we'll have the week after. So you have that'll be my final show in terms of always being here every week, the 2nd of September, and that'll be a week after No More Heroes 3. I'm very excited to tell the world what I think about this game I've been waiting on for years. But until next week, thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us tonight here in the shack. We'll catch you next week. Good night, Koopalings.
Bye-bye.